Hello everybody, this is a video by GTA Car Kits, and today we're inside the 2015 Toyota Sienna. And as you can see here, we installed a Sony CarPlay enabled radio. So this radio supports Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And we're going to show you the installation, how we do all the wiring, and we're also going to demonstrate how to get to this point. So as you can see, the original radio has been changed out and the dash kit has been installed and radio. So the video you can reference for different types of stereos, not just this Sony stereo unit. So we're gonna go ahead and show you everything right now. So first of all, this is the actual radio that we're going to be installing, and we already installed the dash kit for 2015 Sienna. So when you're installing the dash kit on the radio, you got to make sure that the thinner end for this particular vehicle is on top of the radio. In the box for the Sony radio, you have these 4 screws which go on the side of the radio here in order to hold the dash kit on the side of the radio. And we're gonna go over with what the radio has in the box. The main thing is this wiring harness, which we're gonna pair with our wiring harness, and we're gonna show you how to do this. Then there's the microphone, which we're gonna wire for the Bluetooth. And this is a USB extension cable in order for you to connect your smartphone in order to have Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. The harness from the Sony radio, and as you can see, the wires are all covered. So we're going to be using our crimping tool in order to cut off the ends and expose the wires. We're going to be using pigtail connections. So we have a lot of small ones and a few big ones. So this is the main harness for the speakers and the power to the radio. This is the harness that we're going to use in order to retain the stock backup camera from the vehicle. This harness is for the steering wheel controls, and this is antenna adapter. So first we're going to go ahead and remove the ends of these wires. So we're gonna do all the ends except for the parking brake and the remote out. That's for the antenna. There's the ground wire, and we're gonna be connecting it not to the body of the car, we're gonna be connecting it to the actual ground from the Toyota harness. So we're gonna first shorten this wire. That's gonna be our first step. And then we're gonna go ahead and do all the ends except those few wires that I mentioned earlier. So this is the Sony harness, and it's standard that all the colors are gonna match this harness that will connect to your radio. Here the 3 main ones is ground, constant wire, and accessory switched wire. So these 3 we're not going to be touching for now, and we're not going to be touching the reverse wire in. This is for the reverse camera, purple wire with a white stripe. For Toyota from 1987 and up, this is standard harnesses. So this is for the front speakers and the power and the ground, and this is for the 2 rear speakers. So what we're going to do is we're going to be matching the wires. So as you can see, they're the same colors here. So first we're gonna do the front speakers. So it goes by the gray wires. So the gray wire has just a regular gray wire and a gray wire with a black stripe. So we're gonna match it to this harness, and we're gonna connect it here. And these wires are already pre-cut, so you just have to remove the ends. And we're gonna do it like that for all of them also, except for yellow constant wire, red accessory switched, and the ground. These ones we're not gonna touch for now. So we're gonna show you here a few examples how we're gonna be doing this. So we're gonna match the wires. So we have a gray with a black stripe, and we have a gray with the black stripe. So these are for the right front speakers. So we're gonna kind of twist them together. I'm gonna take our pigtail, put it over top. You can use either pliers or the crimping tool in order to squeeze this together. Make sure you squeeze it really good so it stays on tight and they don't come out. Now we're gonna continue with the gray wires. So we have just a gray wire without a stripe. Take our pigtail. we're gonna go ahead and do all of these. So we have the 2 whites to match, 2 greens, and 2 purples. So that should cover all the speakers in this particular vehicle. So we did all the speaker wires, the rears. This is the front. Here we have a few more wires. Now we have this orange wire, which we have to also match to another orange wire from the Sony harness. This is for the dimmer, when at night you turn on your headlights and your interior lights dim. This is the wiring harness for the rear view camera. Once we're going to be plugging it in inside the car, this end will just be unplugged. And over here we're going to connect the stock radio connection, which we're going to take out from the original radio. This end of the harness, this goes to the back of the radio under the label of the rear camera. And for this particular vehicle, the rear view camera requires this 6-volt converter. So we're going to connect it into the harness. I'll show you how. So you have 3 wires here. So we have a ground, we have power wire, and the wire that connects to the rear view or reverse switch. So we're first going to connect the wire that has the red stripe and is blue to the yellow wire of this harness. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to use our pigtail connections. So once that's been connected, we're going to go and connect the ground. So we're just going to kind of join them all together here. And hence, this is what I was saying before, we're going to have some bigger pigtail connections in order to fit all of these wires together. We're going to be actually having 5 wires all together coming here, because our steering wheel controls also require ground. So we just connected all the grounds together. Now we're going to connect the 12-volt connection. So the 2 yellow wires, we're going to connect them together. Make sure the connection is good. So this wire from the reverse camera that is blue and has the white stripe over it, that's our reverse wire. So the radio harness has a reverse wire in, so we're going to connect it first to that. And then also from this harness for the steering wheel controls, we already have a wire that detects when the actual car goes into reverse, which triggers the radio and the module for the rear view camera. So we're gonna join them together. So this wire has it's green and has a purple stripe on it. There's only 2 wires here. This blue wire, light green, we're not going to be using cable, so we have 3 in total for the reverse switch. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So we have just a few wires left. So all of them are the 12-volt switched, and they're called also the ignition wire. They're all red, so we're going to join them together. Just make sure it's connected good. And it looks like pretty much we're done. So this is a fully reversible process. So once, if you decide to remove the radio and go back to the stock one, you just unplug everything, and your regular harness which came in your Toyota will be untouched. So now we're inside our 2015 Toyota Sienna, and we're going to show you how to remove the radio and install the harness and the Sony radio that we're demonstrating. To start off, the tools that you're going to need is a 10mm socket with an extension, some sort of panel removal tool, a flathead screwdriver. So we already disconnected the negative terminal from the battery, and we used our 10mm socket. So it's pretty simple. Just make sure you do the negative one. Now it's safe to work on the car, so we're going to start with our panel removal tool from this corner here, and we're going to get underneath and remove the stop piece. It just held on clips. After that, we're gonna remove this panel around the cluster, kind of just move it to the side a little bit. Now we're gonna use our flathead screwdriver over here in order to remove access to the, so we can release our shift lever. So make sure that the car's parking brake is engaged. So we're gonna press this one down, and we're gonna move it to neutral, and counterclockwise we're gonna remove the shift knob. Once you do that, we're gonna use our panel tool again, and over here underneath, just get underneath, work our way around, and it comes off. So there's two connections underneath this panel, so one small one right here, and I'll show you in a second what I just removed. So there's just two of them. I'm gonna put this to the side. So there's this small connection right here, which you just have to press the clip on top and remove it. Same with the black one. Make sure you put them back when you're assembling everything. So now we're gonna take our 10mm socket with an extension and remove these 4 bolts. So once the 4 bolts have been removed, now the radio can come out. So we're just gonna grab it and carefully take it out, just like that. And over here we see all the connections, and we're gonna disconnect one by one. So we're gonna show you which ones we're gonna be disconnecting. So we're gonna disconnect the top one. So these two are for the speakers. So these are the rear speakers. This is for the fronts and the power, which we're going to be connecting into our harness. Then we're going to remove this 24 pin, I believe, or 28 pin connector. This is the antenna, and we're going to show you in a bit how to connect that. Just like that. And that's it. So I'm just gonna show you the back of the radio. These connections we didn't touch. These are for the Sirius XM. So at the bottom of the radio you have the actual module. So now over here, the first thing we're gonna take is our, which we showed you earlier, is this is our FM antenna adapter. So we're gonna connect it to this one. The blue wire doesn't do anything in this particular car, so it's just gonna be as is. These 2 wires are also not going to be used for our application, and so is this gray wire. So they're just going to be hanging around the back of the radio. This is what gives all the power to the radio and the front speakers. So we're going to connect it to the stock connection. Then we're going to connect their rear speakers, which are right here. So they're all plug and play, and there's only one connection for each. So this is for the reverse camera harness, and like I mentioned earlier, this part of the harness is just gonna be left untouched. And then the last, this is for the steering wheel controls. We'll plug it in. We also have to run the microphone wire. We're gonna run it into the A-pillar right here, and we showed you the microphone wire before. It comes with a unit for the stereo. So we're gonna start from here and work our way down. So we're gonna grab this rubber weather stripping and kind of peel it back. We're also gonna grab over here underneath this panel and drop it down, and we're simply gonna put the cable around here in the corner. Drop this wire on the inside. We're gonna hide the wire between the rubber weather strip. So we have the wire on the inside of the car, so we're gonna keep fishing it behind this metal brackets here. That way everything is gonna be hidden once you put this panel back. over here. Now here we're gonna, you can kind of have to put it through the hole at the back and catch it here. Just like that. And this wire is gonna go to the back of the radio under the microphone slot. So we're gonna leave this for now here, and we're gonna put this panel back. It just clips in. So now the next step is going to be to wire the extension cable to the glove box. So we're here, we have the wire already fished to the glove box. There's a few options that you have. You can also drop this wire underneath here in this compartment, but we decided to wire it to the glove box. So you just gotta make sure you can kind of start from top and drop the wire down and catch it underneath here, or you can also use something like a coat hanger in order to fish it through and tie the wire to it and pull it through. So now we have all the required wires over here. So first we're gonna plug in our USB extension cable, our antenna, camera wire, the microphone wire. I also showed you this jack from the steering wheel controls, which go into the remote slot. The last one would be the harness that came with this Sony unit, which we showed you how to do all the connections. And that would be all. So the rest of the wires are not necessary for our application, and we're gonna hide everything behind here. So as you see here, we put all the wires at the back, and now we're gonna use our 10mm bolts which came with the original radio and put the radio in place one by one. And we're gonna connect the two connections which we disconnected earlier. So as you see here, everything fits. The last part is this little piece which we took out earlier. Same with the shift knob. Next step is this piece around the cluster. Just pops back in place, and now the last one is the piece on top. So now we're gonna go ahead and reconnect the battery and show you how everything works. You turn on the radio, you have to pair to the Bluetooth of this unit, because the stock Bluetooth is no longer working, it's been disabled. And over here, as you can see, we have the microphone which we wired for this unit. So we're gonna go ahead and turn the car onto the accessory position so the radio turns on. So for now we're not gonna be, first we're gonna show you how to pair to the Bluetooth. So if you go and you press the home button, these are all the options here. So we're gonna go to Bluetooth audio, and we're gonna press the settings and press the pairing button. We're gonna go into our phone's Bluetooth, and as you can see, this is the model number of this particular radio, so we're gonna press on that. And now it's been paired, as you can see. And now it's doing music over Bluetooth. So, but the Bluetooth is mostly going to be used for phone calls. So now we're going to press the home button again, and we're going to connect our Apple cable to our iPhone to show you how the Apple CarPlay is going to work. As you can see here on the phone, it says CarPlay, and the first time you're going to plug it in, it's actually going to ask you to actually allow the phone to use CarPlay, so you just press yes. And now from this menu, this is the CarPlay's app logo, so you can go to the TuneIn Radio if you have that application. I actually don't have it on my phone, so it wouldn't go there. So we can go to do maps, and if you put the destination on your phone or by using Siri, it's gonna show you all the directions right here. And then also, of course, the music. and now it's playing over CarPlay. And as you see, the steering wheel controls work when we do it for the volume. And also we're going to demonstrate the rear view camera. So for that we're going to turn the ignition on. Make sure that your foot brake is activated, and we're going to put the car to reverse. As you can see here, so this is the original camera working with this Sony unit. So everything functions as before. So you can also do phone calls and messages through the CarPlay, so by going to the phone option or the messages. For the messages, it's gonna ask you to use Siri if you're using an Apple device. In order to reply to a message, you can say your text and just say send, and it's gonna send it for you. So it's pretty simple to use. And again, this was a video by GTA Car Kits in the 2015 Toyota Sienna. I hope you liked the video, and we'll see you next time.